Hello, my name is Wild Lee of Wild Lee Tarot, and this is your Moonday message for the week beginning January 4th, 2021. Welcome to this new linear year. And as I feel into the energy available for us collectively this week at this time, I'm getting this sensation of a collective contraction. And it is really embodied in this first card here. We received, yet again, the Four of Cups. And this card has been so prevalent for us in the last 9 months. It has shown up on numerous readings, and I promise I shuffle really, really well. And yet this card continues to come forward. Again, the cups, this is the emotional body. It's where our feelings live. And the four in particular is related to grief. It's related to looking at what we had in the past and what we are moving forward into the future, and feeling a lot of conflicting emotions, feeling a lot of dis-ease with what is present for us. This week is holding that tension of, I don't know what's coming in the future, but I know what was in the past, and I'm dissatisfied. I'm dissatisfied with what's present at this time. And the card that I pulled from an oracle deck, the Threads of Fate Oracle, to support what is this grief about? I was really curious because this grief card has shown itself to us so many times. So I was really curious, what is this grief in relation to? What have I been missing over these last few months? And the card that came to speak about this grief, we've got Ask Body. So the sensation that I'm receiving from this card is that this unprocessed grief that's not been really alluded to yet is in the body. It's in the physical body space, the animal body. I use that phrase a lot, that we are in these animal bodies, right? We are these large, energetic, spiritual beings in these animal bodies. And we've gone through this year of 2021 collectively in an intense state of nervous system distress. Regardless of what you think or feel about what is going on collectively, your body has been affected by this experience, this global experience of fear, this global experience of confusion. It has nothing to do with what your ideals are. It has nothing to do with whether or not you believe or don't believe in what's happening in our system. We are all still connected as a species energetically, and so we feel one another's concerns and pain and struggles in the body, whether we are conscious of it and registering it on an intellectual and emotional level or not. And so we have Ask Body connected with this unresolved grief that we've been moving through for a long time, many moons now. So the sensation that I'm receiving with this is this week would be a really good time to come into conversation with the body and to be really compassionate as you hold that inquiry and find out, where in the body are you feeling dis-ease? Are you feeling discomfort? Have you stretched in a while? Are you drinking enough water every day? What have you been doing to help relax the nervous system? Do you allow yourself to be in water, to take salt baths, to tap the body to help release tension? Do you allow yourself time to meditate? Do you allow yourself time to be in this body that has been so stressed for so long? And have you allowed yourself this without feeling shame or guilt about it? You know, there is a story moving through the collective that if you've been unemployed or if you've been quarantined, you've been at home, that this should somehow be a relaxing experience, or that you can opt out of feeling the stress because you've had that privilege. And yes, that has been a privilege for those who have been able to do so and not been essential workers. And yet, it is still quite stressful. Wherever you've been on the spectrum, whether you've been an essential worker or been quarantined at home, all facets of existence over the last year have been in stress. They have been in stress, in the unknown, in fear, in a vibration and a frequency that is quite distressful to the body. And so this week, as we enter this new year, we've had this New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, this thing that in our culture signifies a threshold of moving into change, moving into something new. And yet here we are, the first week, and things have still not shifted, as they, of course, will not for quite some time. So in this space of the unknown, the word purgatory just came in, that we collectively feel as though we're in this holding pattern, this unknown of where are we moving towards. Let's come back to the body. Let's come back to our sweet bodies, our sweet transportation units, and ask them what they need. What do they need of us? Do they need more rest? Do they need more exercise? Do they need more water? Do they need more nourishing food? Do they need more touch? This is a big one that I'm feeling in my back body, in the collective, that we have been so far removed from the normal physicality of our human experiences that we're missing out, and we're really skin hungry and touch hungry. Is there anyone in our lives? Do we have a pod of people that we are able to connect with and receive hugs, receive hand holding, receive eye contact and facial expressions from? And if we don't have that in physical real time, are we building in that space for us on the online, in the online realm? Do we have friends that we're able to Zoom call with, that we're able to see smiles and to laugh and to connect? This week is incredibly important for that community building sensation to take place. It's important for our health and for our sanity that we retain and nourish and nurture our humanity through this experience and into this new year. It's been a long, long time since we've felt free to hug our acquaintances as well as our close friends, to shake hands, to smile at strangers. It's been a really long time since we've been able to do these very human and basic things that are quite important, that allow our body and our nervous system a sense of safety and security, that we are part of a species and that we're all looking out for one another. So this week, invite that in for yourself if that's not something that you've given space to before. And the cards that came to support. So how do we do this? How do we help relax the body? How do we help ourselves in calling in more of this space to release the grief that is trapped in our tissues? First thing we have, 9 of Pentacles. Pentacles being the earth, this earth quality element. This card in particular focusing on our creativity and using our hands in order to build something of value. So I'm sensing from this card putting in the work to be creative, to continue to be with community in whatever ways we are able, based on our level of safety needs and where we live and our communities and our families. It requires efforting to be part of a community. It requires efforting to have deep friendships with our people. And this, what I'm feeling from this card is that through those efforts, we create something lasting and beautiful, something that we have put work into, and therefore it has worth because we've placed energy into it. This card also speaks of creativity, so this week is a really excellent week to employ our creativity. When is the last time that you've been creative? Do you like to make collages or paint or redecorate a room in your home or journal or write or sing? When have you used those tools last? And if it's been a while, why? Oftentimes when we are in this deep level of grief, it can be difficult for us to remember that we have all of these tools in our tool belt to help us stay positive and in a higher vibration and in a clearer headspace so that we can enjoy our experience, even if it is not the experience that we would prefer. We can still come at it from a place of curiosity and a place of openness for whatever education we might receive. That's where wisdom comes from, in being with discomfort, leaning into it, and finding the nuggets of wisdom and experience within, still allowing ourselves to gain something from an experience that we don't prefer. And the second card that came forward to support, we've got the Three of Wands. And this card is literally about business, about putting effort into business, into service, using our intuition and our intellect to guide us forward in that way. So I'm getting the sensation here that another way to really move this grief is to take some of our attention and energy away from what has making us so dissatisfied and putting it towards being of service. How can we be of service this week in this time that none of us prefer? We're still here, we're still doing it. How can we be of service? And knowing that service means 100 million different things for each different person based on who you are and what your skills are. Your service can be so many things. It can be texting friends you haven't spoken to in a while just to check in. It can be making donations to valuable philanthropy services that support animals or plants or houseless people. It can be checking in with your family. It can be anything. It doesn't have to mean that you are on the front lines. It can be the smallest of things, but anything done in this world from the heart, from a spirit of being in service, from a place of I am giving simply because I want to and it feels good without any backstory of what will be received from that giving. That is service. And when we are of service, it helps us to remember that we can trust that all of our needs will be met because we will one day be the recipient of that service. It's meant to ebb and flow and move through the community, just like money is meant to ebb and flow and move through the community. When we hoard our energy, when we hoard our service, when we hoard our money, we don't allow it to flow and benefit the whole. And so I'm sensing with this card to begin to switch our mindset, just give it a shift. Yes, we're still in grief. Yes, we need to tend the body and release the grief. And often when we get into that deep pit, the rabbit hole, when we go in and we're overwhelmed and we can think of nothing else or take in nothing of nourishment, sometimes the first foothold out is to look outside of ourselves and to see that we are not the only ones suffering, and that by working together we can help to alleviate everyone's suffering along with our own, right? And then the word that came forward to give the edge to the energy this week, how do we soften it, is play. Let's allow this to be playful. We've been in this now for almost a year, at least where I am in the country. It's a long time. It's been many, many moons. We've gotten a bit used to it. We're adapted to it. Okay, here it is. It's going to shift. We don't know when, but we're still here. How can we add some more play into our daily experience? How can we add some lightness and some fun? We need to lighten things up. We need this grief collectively to begin to move. If this grief stays so heavy, like a wet blanket, it's going to be more challenging for us as a collective to get the momentum going, to get the energy moving, so that we can healthfully move into the next phase and know where our feet are and know what we want out of this life. If we feel dejected and down and unable to see the possibilities of what might be next. Part of being human is this sense of play and wonder, and it is not something to be lightly let go of. It is something to fight for, to hold on to, that we are human, that we deserve to have this sense of play. Not just our children, but us as adults and our elders. We all deserve to have access to this frequency of play, of joy, of fellowship. We all deserve access to connection and feeling like we belong. And so this week, I invite you to look at what habits you've fallen into, what patterns that may not support and serve you in staying connected, in feeling as though you belong, in feeling as though life is worthwhile and still offers a sense of wonder and mystery and curiosity that can keep the brain stimulated and desiring motion and exercise and water and nourishment and self-care. We are complex beings. We are animals. We are all these things. And one of the things that our whole being truly needs is to feel curious. To feel curious and to continue looking for how things can be different, be better, be more playful. That feels like the message for this week. I hope that it serves you well and that you have everything that you need. And this message is brought to you this week by my new online course. It is Module 1, Shame of Root and Bone Work. I developed this course to be an integrative experience for you to move through, to dive into the taproots of shame, where they live in your body, how they have been placed there, probably without your consent. And it offers some embodiment practice as well as some journal prompts and meditations to help release that shame and allow more freedom and more liberation to come into your life. If that sounds like something that would support you, you can find more information in my bio or in the links with this video. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next Monday.